What else did I have to say about this?
I forget the topic.
We were going to talk about Deadpool, and then we like spiraled into
Oh,
DC Comics and
okay.
whether or not Batman should be violent and all sorts of stuff. Um, Only thing I was going to ask is if there's any like actual movies that you're looking forward to this year. I know there were a lot announced, but I feel like in
Two.
21 we're going to get a bunch of 2020 movies that never made it.
We are, and I'm okay with that because there's a lot of stuff that we're owed. you know, my only hope though is that a lot of them continue because some actually got pushed back, and some are anticipating getting pushed back. Also, I think Morbius just got announced to be pushed back by Sony. So I would not be surprised if maybe even Black Widow or others start getting pushed back because I think that studios are starting to realize that, like, hey, we got a vaccine coming out, we got a new president in office, new cabinet. There's a good chance that, like, this whole pandemic might actually get handled, like in the next 6 to 8 months. So I think there is that anticipation. But just two movies right off the dot that I'm kind of like looking forward to. Denzel's movie, The Little Things. I don't really think it's gonna be like a blockbuster hit or nothing because I feel like at this point in his career, Denzel's on cruise control. Like it's not really much he has to do. He just needs to show up, guarantee something, and that's it. Like the movie's done. Um, and outside of that, I did already see it, and I'm able to kind of sort of talk about it, but the embargo hasn't lifted yet. Judas and the Black Messiah. Um, the most I can say is just like my emotional reaction to it. I'm a little conflicted by it. I loved what it brought to the table in terms of awareness for Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers. I am very dubious about how other segments of the population are going to interpret the Black Panthers due to some of the scenes that are depicted. So, um, but at the end of the day, Kahlua does a pretty good job. And what else? And I'd probably say that it should make people more interested in looking, doing some research, because I don't think we've had enough movies that depict the Black Panthers in a positive sense, and it's only allowed certain media bubbles to just create whatever narrative they want. So I'm always a fan of like a movie trying to get it right historically anyway. And and that's mainly because people are more willing to pick up a movie than they are picking up a book. So
I take what I see in movies as fact. Yeah,
I mean, look, like sadly, that's kind of the case. I mean, I always say to this day, if you were to ask me what Moses looked like, I'm gonna say Charleston Heston, Ten Commandments. Like it's just kind of stuck in my head, you know. That,
so the little things is going to be on HBO Max, right?
yeah,
Okay.
it's
So
coming
that's
out.
going to make it a lot more accessible.
It'll make it accessible, and I think it'll actually be a better place for it. I mean, that's not a movie that when you have like slow thrillers slash dramas, they don't
Hmm.
have to be in theaters. You know what I'm saying? Like the theater experience is not enhanced, in my opinion, for those type of films. Those are the type of films I'll be like, I'll go check it on a matinee. But streaming is a great place for those type of things because think of like something like Bird Box. When Bird Box came out, I felt like it excelled because it was on streaming. But had it came out in theaters, it probably would have gotten lost in the sauce with some other big
Hmm.
blockbuster, And yeah, maybe a couple people might have been like, "Oh, this was cool," but who's going to be? You're going to be less likely and less willing to get up, go pay money, especially during a matinee for a movie you ain't heard of, you still kind of questionable about versus let me just flick on the Netflix and see what this is about. So some of these movies are going to excel better just because of the medium, and I think the little things hopefully should do better. I mean, it's got Jared Leto in there, it's got Denzel in there, so you got the star power on paper.
Yeah,
Um,
Jared Leto, man. I don't know.
we'll see. I don't know. We'll
I don't
see.
know.
We'll see where it goes. I don't have high expectations for it, but at the same time, I'm still kind of like, could be decent. I don't think Denzel signs on to bad projects.
It's true. He usually doesn't. He's very selective about
Yeah.
the ways that his characters are depicted, the way they're written, and what type of message they're delivering. So
I mean,
I'm with
even
you on
his
that.
worst movies, I'm like, they're still decent.
I love the Book
Like
of Eli.
Book of Eli was awesome. I mean, he has probably wasted, I would say, he could have been a better action star than a drama star. Because some of his best stuff is when he actually gets down and dirty and
He
like,
does. He did do a lot of action movies with Tony Scott for a while. Him and Tony Scott was just
yeah,
having like a little love affair,
yeah.
putting out like Man on Fire and
And
what
those
was
are
other?
those look deja vu, and these were things that people were like, "Yo, Denzel to me was kind of like
Unstoppable.
a black Tom Cruise. He was like our version of Tom Cruise.
I can see that.
If he was more of a movie star than he was an actor. I know that might be insulting to him today because
I
he
know
wants to be an actor,
he could.
but
He's like the
he
black
had
Tom
that
Cruise, but
cachet.
he followed the trajectory of a black George Clooney, right? He wanted to take certain types of films.
No, I wouldn't even say that. I mean, like, keep in mind one of his inspirations was Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like if Tom Cruise were to sit here and be like, I'm gonna dedicate myself more to acting, even though I've got this like star potential
Hmm.
for blockbusters, and I'm gonna still do my Mission Impossibles, but oh, let me go do this Shakespeare real quick, you know. So, but that's those are the only two movies I'm kind of excited for at this point. Oh,
I'm
and Mortal
looking for.
Kombat. Mortal Kombat's coming soon. Oh, when did that get pushed?
Isn't
Did
it
it get?
still like February or March?
It's
It's
either
HBO. It's
February
gonna
or
be HBO Max.
it's coming on HBO Max. But I really wanted to actually see it in theaters. I don't even care because like it doesn't have like the biggest names in
Hmm.
it, but
Who's
I
in it?
feel, huh?
Who's
I
in
mean,
it?
look, if you're an action movie junkie, you've seen
On.
some of the people, right? Like you've seen some people from the Raid, you've seen some people in different, various action flicks and stuff.
Hmm.
Lewis Tan is in there, so. But what I like is the fact that it's not going the 1994 Street Fighter route where it's like, oh, I got to get Van Damme, I got to get like big names in here,
Raul
and that's gonna
Julia.
do. Yeah, now it's just like, no, we gonna get people that actually know how to fight,
Hmm.
and we gonna make this rated R, and we gonna make this close to the game as possible. So to me, I'm like, yo, I like y'all setup. I
Hmm.
like that y'all got real fighters. I
Hmm.
like that you guys have no names, which means you probably gonna take more risks, and I like that. So as long as they get that theme song pumped up, that theme song get me hyped every time, boy. Just oh, I'm like, let's go, let's go. You know. So as
I'm
long as
with
I
that.
get that, I'll be happy.
I'm with that.
And hopefully they budget is decent where the CGI ain't looking boo boo if
Listen,
Goro or somebody come out.
yo, I didn't even know Goro looked bad until I got older and looked back at
I
it.
didn't either.
When I first watched it, I was like, this is amazing. He's got four
I did
arms. He
too.
looks
I was
great.
like, yo,
It's
they
terrifying,
they did it. Like I don't want
right?
to be in that tournament. I'm
Right?
straight.
When Reptile came out, I was with it.
Yeah, I could
Um,
still sit and watch the first Mortal Kombat. To be honest.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh no, I have. Yeah, the first one is
I've
still
done it
decent.
too. You know, you see that
First one
scene
is
when
still
Sub-Zero
decent.
does that.
Yeah.
I've
Boy,
seen
you
it
know how
too.
many times I used to pose doing my Sub-Zero. What? Come on, man.
um, Ghostbusters. That's what I was looking forward to this year.
I didn't care about that too. I mean, it
Yo,
was cool just from the premise, but that didn't have me like super excited.
Ghostbusters was my movie as a kid. Like when you first get your own tape of a movie, that
I
was
feel
my
you.
first movie. It
I
was
feel you on that.
Ghostbusters.
Mine was
And
The Mask because I
The
watched
Mask.
the mess out of The Mask. I knew every line, every quote. I could recite the whole movie at 9 years old, like no problem,
Why don't they
beginning
do
to
another
end.
Mask? What is Jim Carrey doing?
But wait, it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
Oh man, I wish he would do another one. He could still do sequels
Look,
to
he
some of these things.
can. I mean, I don't know. Look, to me, I'm like, I don't understand why this man ain't been the Joker yet. I mean,
Because he was already the Riddler.
he was terribly miscast as the Riddler. I mean, we were forgiving because it was the
Because he
'90s. We
couldn't
didn't
be the
care.
Joker anymore, right? So basically, he took the
Right,
Joker and made him the Riddler, right? That was
right,
his
right.
version of the
But
Joker.
in this day and age, we'll take a Jim Carrey Joker.
I mean, it's not too late. We got a
It's
multiverse now.
not. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's time and opportunity.
I would like for him to like he started doing sequels to some of his older movies like Dumb and Dumber and stuff like that. I
That was
want
a
to
waste
see
of time.
that was a waste of time. I want to see like The Mask. I want to see like a sequel to
See, but
uh,
you know, the trouble with doing something like that though is,
Ace Ventura.
and the trouble even with that, if you think about it, you go back to Ace Ventura, that ain't aging very well for today's world.
No, hold on. I don't necessarily see what I like is something that they did with the Karate Kid was instead of trying to cram like a really campy,
Mhm.
hammy story into a sequel, stretch it out into a series. Make some more
Oh, I feel you with that.
continuations of the characters, right? There's these old movies that they try to do 20-year later sequels. Do a 20-year later show.
No, I'm not too opposed to that. I mean, what Cobra Kai is doing is pretty good stuff, right?
Hmm.
I'm just saying that when you have stuff, because when you
Me,
look at
myself, and
comedy,
Irene. Can you imagine me,
no,
myself, and Irene with the
not even
grandkids?
today, not even
With his
today.
grandkids?
I'm
With
just
those
saying, like
Anthony
the
Anderson as
way,
his grown ass son.
no, look, the way comedy is, it changes over time because the sensitivities of the culture either, get harder or softer,
That was
over
yeah,
time.
you're
And
right.
there are certain things that were funny as hell in the 90s.
Yo,
They're offensive as hell today.
yo.
I mean, people are still tripping, and this is people that didn't grow up with it, so they go back and watch it and they're like, oh my gosh, Ace Ventura was transphobic.
Half
Like,
those jokes wouldn't fly today.
that's what I'm saying though. So it's kind of like, okay, how do you take comedy that was stamped in time?
Hmm.
It was stamped in time type of comedy. That's not comedy that can fly today. How do you bring it into this world in this time and have it land the same punch? This is one of the main reasons why I'm still concerned about Coming to America, the second one, the sequel.
So I think that you just write it in a more contemporary way. You don't have to
Yeah,
be offensive in the same way, right?
yeah,
So like Dave Chappelle finds a a great way to walk the line of being offensive but poignant, right? He
yes,
can be respectfully disrespectful,
yes.
except to the trans community. He's very disrespectful to them.
Not
But
according to other people in the trans community, according to him.
I don't know if
I
I
mean,
don't.
I don't know if you saw his set, but
I
like,
know I did. But
oh,
my
okay,
thing is that I just don't know. I don't have a second opinion, right? I've
I
never
feel
gone
you.
out and
Yeah,
gotten a second opinion, right? I'm
yeah,
going to trust his word when he's also the person who's doing it, right? That's
yeah.
like me,
He's the first and secondary source.
right? It's not. He's not very
I
reliable
mean,
there.
look, my thing is also this though, like especially with comedy, it's not a lot of people that can do what Dave Chappelle does, right?
No.
Like in terms of adapting with the times, it's kind of like music. You know how like you'll have certain artists who are really good, but they were only good in the early 2000s back when Cash Money was trying to take over the 99.
Chris Rock
But then
hard with tambourine.
some artists can't get with the current times and they're stuck in the past, while you have other artists who are able to adapt. They're able to do the R&B stuff. I would say like someone like Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like he could do the R&B stuff from the early 2000s, but then he could transform and get with any of the new rappers today,
Hmm.
and drop like a new hot single and still be
Hmm.
hot. So, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, if you're going to do a movie like that, especially something like The Mask, unless you want this to go straight to streaming and, everybody just is like, it's just that sequel that dies eventually.
Hmm.
I don't even know if it's worth it, to be honest, because if the comedy in the past, like Hangover, look at how quickly Hangover died. I'm
No,
talking about
no,
like
no,
the
no. Hold on,
sequels.
hold on. No, no, no. Yeah, the Hangover
First one is
series
still good.
died because of
Yes.
the sequels. Let's be clear, right? The Hangover series died out because of the sequels. The second
Yes.
one was like beating it to death, and
It
the
was
third
bad.
one shot it dead.
It was, yeah, yes.
All right.
Yes.
And that director tried to do Due Date with Galifianakis
Was
and
that Todd
Robert
Phillips?
Downey.
Did he do all of
Uh,
them?
yeah, he did. He did the whole Hangover trilogy. Then he did Due Date. Then he went on hiatus for years, and then he did
Then he
Joker.
came back and did Joker. Yeah.
He was like, "All right,
That
comedy
was a good
is
comeback. It ain't for
maybe I
you,
should
dog.
step away from
It
comedy."
ain't for you. It was, look, Hangover worked because it was a quick shock value type of thing. Once you get over the shock stuff, that's
But
it.
he's another one of those crossover directors, going full circle to our topic from last time. You look at him, he did comedy, and then he crossed over to a whole nother genre and knocked it out the park. He could probably, for those who don't know, check out our previous video. um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's he was able to do the whole trilogy. It was funny for a while, and it's not now.
Mm.
I lost my whole train of thought.
Movies for this year.
Oh, the movies for this year. I wanted Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You wanted Mortal Kombat. What other movies were there this year? There's a whole lot.
I mean, that's Matrix 4. That's definitely gonna be something I'm looking forward to.
That's
Then
only
there was
at the
John
end of
Wick.
the year.
I think it was John Wick 4 also.
That's not filmed yet. No.
No, one of them got pushed to the year after.
We got Fast Nine. We got Tom Holland appearing in like a movie every 10 minutes this year.
Cherry. That movie looks so uninspiring. Like I just watched the trailer and I was bored. I was like, the most exciting thing you're doing is robbing a bank, and I don't even think I care about that.
It's directed by the Russos.
So, what does that mean?
They have my confidence.
Do
And
they?
yeah, you know why? Because they did
Outside of comic book stuff?
they did 4 awesome movies in a row.
Outside of comic book stuff
I'm
that's
willing to
already on a formulaic train?
I'm willing to give them a shot because they
I
did.
mean, I'll give them a shot, but I would say I'm less convinced with them than I am with James Gunn.
How?
Because, like I said, they were on a formulaic train. All they were
They
doing
did.
was just sitting here like come on now. Let's not act like somebody can't step into Marvel and you already kind of have a head start if you're stepping into Marvel. I'm just saying.
You want
You don't
me?
have
You really want to sit here and talk about whether or not you can step into Marvel and have a good movie?
I didn't say that. I
Okay.
said you have a head start.
Yeah,
What
but
I
you can
mean
still
is,
come out with a Thor: The Dark World.
You can still have a bad movie. You can still have a Captain Marvel. You can still do a bad movie.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is when you come in there, you're not building from scratch. You're not just sitting here saying like, "Oh, okay, what do I do with these characters?" You've got a whole lineage that has already shown you a trajectory. It's almost like a Star Wars movie.
Almost,
You know
except
what
for
it
one
is.
thing. Except for one thing. Joe and Anthony Russo, when they came after they finished You, Me, and Dupree, and they was casting Captain America to direct Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Marvel was on its own trajectory. They was on the Joss Whedon trajectory, right? They did Avengers. They did Avengers: Age of Ultron. They was kind of feeling their way as to what they were going to do next. They knew James Gunn was going to be involved with Guardians of the Galaxy. But when Winter Soldier came out, the whole trajectory of the MCU changed. Iron Man 3 still came out, but the rest of the MCU changed in their
Fair.
wake.
That's fair. Because Captain America: Winter Soldier, I will say, transcended the comic book genre, and that in itself is what made it so appealing.
You and I still debate if it's like what is the best Marvel movie? Is it Captain America: Winter Soldier or one of the other Anthony and Joe Russo movies?
We're gonna have to that's another episode right there. I mean, it's easily top 5. It's easily top 5. There's no question about that.
Yeah, I
But
would say
where in the
where
top
the
5?
is where
That's hard.
All right,
That's
so we'll
hard.
save it for the next video.
Mm.
Um So yeah, I'm looking forward to the idea of these guys doing Cherry. I kind of trust them as writers and directors, and I'm curious what they have in mind working with Tom Holland again.
I'm just saying the trailer didn't sell me.
I
It
don't.
probably can be good. I'm not saying it's not.
I
I'm
never
just
said
saying
these guys make great trailers. The trailers for Avengers Endgame weren't great.
the trailers for Infinity War and Endgame were exactly what we wanted. What do you mean?
Endgame trailers were very formulaic. I remember them.
I remember them too, and I remember them not telling me a damn thing, and I
Yeah, it
appreciated
was
that.
just like
But
it.
at the same time, they
But
were
that didn't
able to
necessarily make
convey
them a great trailer. It was just
no,
like it was just what you
no,
wanted.
no. What
You-
made them great trailers was the fact that you told me how I'm supposed to be feeling. You conveyed a feeling through your trailer. That's all you really need. Because guess what? It's a continuation of a previously highly anticipated movie and successful movie. You don't have to tell me nothing else.
Ooh,
Sometimes the best thing to do is to know when you don't need to say very much. And that in itself is a skill.
are we excited about 007? No Time to Die?
Meh.
You know, if you would have asked me in like 2006 if I was, or 2008 if I was excited about a James Bond movie, I would have been like, of course I am. It's just like
What,
the
after
biggest
Casino
property.
Royale?
Yeah,
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 sure.
I would have been like, yeah. But now
Quantum
it's
of
like
Solace kind of.
Quantum of Solace was
I mean, it was
out.
okay. Look, these James Bond movies, they've been decent, but I can't sit here and say outside of Casino Royale that they've been like memorable. I can't
I
say
think
that.
so. I think they were better than the Pierce Brosnan movies. Right? Pierce Brosnan had one good James Bond movie.
What, GoldenEye?
Yeah. Can you name all the others? You can name
What was
maybe
it?
one, two.
Tomorrow Never Dies,
Hmm.
GoldenEye.
You said that.
Um, yeah, I think those were the two that I
Die
actually.
Another Day.
Yeah, he did do Die Another Day.
The World Is Not Enough.
He did that one. Dang. Look, I'm not even gonna act like my problem. First of all, GoldenEye was like still one of the best. Period.
Yes, but
Shout out to
Casino
Nintendo
Royale,
64 as well. Um,
Skyfall.
Skyfall was good. Was it good? See,
I
this is
think
my other
Skyfall
problem.
was
I don't
good.
feel like they're memorable. Like I feel like a lot of these movies outside of Casino Royale, because I feel like that was the first time it didn't feel like a Bond movie. Dare I say, it almost felt like a Mission Impossible movie with James Bond in it.
Hmm.
It was just the style was just different. Just everything felt different with Casino Royale, but everything else went right back to the straight formula. It went right back to okay, James, you're gonna start off probably in bed with some woman, and okay, you got to go meet Q, then you got to learn about this terrorist,
No,
then you
no,
got to
no,
go
no,
stop.
no. These other movies didn't go like that. They
No,
didn't.
no,
That
no.
was the Pierce Brosnan formula.
I
These
mean,
movies
those
were
were the
different.
past ones, but even no, man, come on, man. Daniel Craig still did a lot of that.
He
The
did,
only
but he
difference,
didn't.
the one difference I would say that they did well is, and I want to say, was it Sky? It might have been Skyfall, where he went to his parents' house and stuff.
Hmm.
Like that one, where
Exploring
we
his
actually
history.
dig a little deeper into who he is, what
Hmm.
made him, and stuff like that. That was a little bit more appreciative. But man, when I tell you, like the plots and sometimes even the villains in James Bond,
They were complex.
they,
That's the
they're
main thing that
they're
would always.
complex, but I feel like they're fast food also. Not to say that they're cheap.
Fine,
I feel like
fine,
they're the kind like you eat them, and then the second you leave, you're like,
fine.
damn, I'm hungry again.
Are we excited for A Quiet Place Part Two?
I am.
Without a
Yes.
doubt. You know, I'm shocked that John Krasinski hasn't been directing more. Right? He did A Quiet Place, and he did like the Jack Ryan TV show for Amazon, but he hasn't been directing.
I feel like he's going to do that later because it's clearly a passion of his to direct.
Hmm.
And I think he's a stronger director than he is actor. But I also think that, when you're a young to middle-aged guy still in really good shape,
Hmm.
these are your best years. You know what I'm saying? So you could direct all the way into your 80s. You could do that later, but you could only be a Jack Ryan for like the next 10 years or so. So
I don't know. Harrison Ford be breaking all these rules with
I
these
mean,
characters.
it's not for everyone. I'm just saying
Right?
that's more the
That's
exception
his
to the rule.
role.
That's more the exception to the rule. But I'm just saying, if you were in that position to look good, be in shape, and actually be able to act, that window is a lot smaller than the grander window of directing, which you can do to the day you die.
Are we excited for Fast 9?
I'm not, but I'm also Fast and Furious fatigued out.
They're
Like I
supposed
go
to be
watch
wrapping
them.
up the story now.
I mean, I go watch them for the popcorn aspect of it. Don't get me wrong,
I still have
but
to finish Fast 7
I'm not. I'm not
or
the
6.
moment. I think it was Fast Five that got me excited, and that no surprise when The Rock really started becoming a part of the franchise. That got me into it. Like I actually did a binge on it before Fast 8, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and Fast 5 was fantastic. Like that got me back into it. Fast 6 was like, Fury 6 was up there, and then it was around 7 that they started becoming way more cheap and cheesy
They're
and
going to space now.
unrealistic. Huh?
They're going to
Yeah.
space now.
And I think that's already actually confirmed. That they're actually going to go into space. I don't think they're going to be in space, but I think they're going to do something so stupid. They like break the atmosphere. They kind of touch space and then they just dive down, or something like that. It'll be something stupid like that, But outside of that, I'm like, yo, the second I saw The Rock catch a torpedo with his bare hand, the second I saw this man take a whole chair, what was it like when he was fighting Jason Statham, and they were both superheroes for like 5 minutes in the jail breakout scene. I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
like I can't take y'all seriously no more, you know. So no,
I,
I'm not that excited for it.
I had a couple others I was going to ask, but I think I'm going to just end it here. Are we excited for Space Jam?
Hell no,
Really?
not at all.
Not even a little bit?
Not even a little bit.
Damn. What about Candyman?
A little. I want to see what Nia DaCosta does as a director, especially now that she's doing Captain Marvel 2. I grew up on Freddy and Jason,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of missed the boat on Candyman. Like I've seen it,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't one of those things that like creeped me out the way it did other people. So, I don't diss it, but it's not something I gravitate to. So I'm more so curious as to what can she do to modernize it and hopefully make it appealing again. I don't know.
So, yeah, I'm
So
I'm curious too. We've got a couple of those horror movies from the past coming back. We got Halloween Kills, we got Candyman. I'm curious to see what they do
hmm
later this year. There's a lot of movies that are from 2020 that never released in theaters. We're going to get in 2021. So it's going to be an interesting year overall.
I'm
Um,
actually more interested in like, and I don't know when it's coming out. I think it was like Hellraiser. I think they're either doing a reboot or something with it. Only because I've never sat through a full viewing of Hellraiser.
Hellraiser was scary as hell.
See, but that's the thing. I remember as a kid, like I would watch it, I'd tune in, then I saw people with no skin, and I was like,
Hmm.
nope, I don't know what this is. Nope.
You ever watch
Like
those movies House?
House.
Yeah, the movies where the house would try to kill you. Like you go in the house and it was like a whole sequence of stories and events that would happen. No?
I don't know what you're
Not
talking
ringing
about.
any bells?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, so old 80s horror movies.
I don't
It's
need to see that. I'm good. I just know that um Hellraiser, because I never understood Hellraiser. Like I didn't understand the mythology. I didn't understand anything. The only thing I knew was that people was playing around with something that they had no business playing with, And because they did that, these held people or whatever came and was like just torturing folks for whatever reason.
Are you ready for Matrix 4?
Am I ready for it? I've been ready for it, but I can't sit here and tell you that I'm not concerned about it. I
Okay.
think that the window for it might have passed only because the thing that made the Matrix series, which by the way, I'm a huge fan of the Matrix series. Like
How well do you
even
remember?
huh?
How well do you remember it?
I remember it pretty well. I mean, I used to binge watch it like constantly. I even watched the Animatrix. I used to play the
Hmm.
game. Like
I
I
played
used
the
to
game.
really get into it to learn as much as possible, right? Because I was just so fascinated with the world building and
Hmm.
the concepts, you know. And I think again that was the selling point, right? The selling point was the fact that it was so new, it was so groundbreaking, but because of its success, how many times have we seen the slow motion bullet dodging and all that stuff? Like it's also inspired a lot, right? So to the point where those simple things that really blew our minds back in the early 2000s, you know, it's kind of like, well, what exactly can you do now? Because now that's the new pressure, right? I kind of compare the Matrix to old school Apple. Old school Apple, I'm talking about Steve Jobs.
Hmm.
Back when Steve Jobs was doing stuff, anytime there was an Apple event, you had to tune in because
Hmm.
you knew he was going to pull something out that you ain't never seen before.
Hmm.
Or we had seen it, but he modified it and did something mind blowing with it. You know,
Hmm.
like, yeah, MP3 players existed, but an iPod? What? You know, sure, iPods existed, but an iPad?
iPod
What?
Touch.
Or touch, yeah. You know, but just saying, like every time it was like you just blew us away. You
Yeah.
know, and I feel like that's what the Matrix did. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the sequels got more convoluted. They got a little bit more complex. They got more heady than anything
They got
else.
silly.
I wouldn't say silly, but
No,
I think
they
it
were
took
not as
itself.
relatable. They weren't
I
very
think
relatable.
they weren't relatable, but I think it's because it got too much in its own head, right? Like when you go down that rabbit hole of philosophical simulation theory, it can get pretty wild, right? And I
Yes.
feel like they kept their foot on the pedal and forgot that the audience was getting left behind in Matrix 2. You
Yes.
know, like we were still with the keymaker,
Right.
you know,
Oh man.
but y'all already in Zion and doing all this other wild stuff. So that is why I am apprehensive to Matrix 4 because one, I got to ask myself, like, what are y'all about to do that's going to blow our minds?
I hope they bring in Will Smith.
Well, I know what Michael B. Jordan is supposed to be like the lead, right? Or no, he's not the lead, but he's in it, right? Like
Is he? I didn't know he
I,
was in it.
I thought he was.
I thought it was still the same leads, Keanu
I
and
know
Carrie
Keanu and
Ann Moss.
Trinity are still in there. I don't know if that's the thing. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. I have no idea. Um,
Yeah. I don't think he's in it. So
you know, and
like with
almost.
this, it's gonna be way later, and they're gonna
Mhm.
follow up with probably more themes about the Matrix. More than likely, I assume they're just gonna have another iteration of the Matrix, and we were gonna follow the journey of someone else who's gonna become the one.
Mhm.
Um, I
Or
agree.
yeah, it's just another iteration of Neo. You know, because that's the other thing I was kind of thinking they were going to do. I was like, can they do like a multiverse?
I was just hoping that enough time has passed and enough things have inspired the Wachowskis enough that they can actually revisit this and come up with something fresh. You know,
Mm.
watching their career where they did the first Matrix movie and it blew everything off the hinges, and then they did their follow-up movies like Speed Racer and V for Vendetta and Cloud
FIFA, that
Atlas,
was cool. Cloud Atlas, not so much. Did they do Jupiter Ascending? I think
Jupiter
they did.
Ascending,
Yeah.
and
See
it's just
those that's what kind of like made me more concerned because every time I was like, "Ooh, the Wachowskis are doing. Oh, okay, cool." Ooh, that didn't do too well. So that's where my confidence kind
I
of
never
waned
saw
a little
Speed
bit.
Racer. Did you?
I didn't want to, and I mean, I heard nothing but bad things about it, and I
Was
was like,
Matthew Fox in it?
I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. I didn't. I had zero interest in it, and it looked like the best thing that they do is make things look shiny. Like
Yeah,
they kill it with the visuals, but my God, the stories be like just like Jupiter Ascending was terrible. I
I
was
never
watching this
watched it.
thing like, who wrote this? What
Well,
are y'all doing?
I stopped watching them. You know how I am. When I write somebody off, they're dead to me. I haven't seen a DC movie since Justice League. After Matrix 3, I was done.
I mean,
I'm not gonna go see Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. I'm sorry.
that wasn't terrible, but
See, but if that's the
I'm not
best
mad at
type
you.
phrase
No,
you could give,
I know. I'm not mad at you for it. Like I'm not gonna be like, no, 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 you gotta go see it.
I
Like
got you've been pushing me. You've been suggesting Shazam, and
Shazam is the one I would definitely
I've
say.
been on the
Like
fence.
I would recommend Shazam over Harley Quinn. I'd recommend it over Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Um, because again, especially for fans of comics, like you did it. Like you actually took the comic, changed it just a little bit, but you kept the like 80% of the heart of it together, and it
Hmm.
was good. And the tone was perfect. It's a good movie. It's a
If
good movie.
Matrix 4 is relatable like Matrix 1, I like how Matrix 1 just wrapped itself in a generic superhero origin
What do you
story.
mean by relatable? Because I mean, I think
Because it was like that generic superhero story. Here's this guy that didn't know he was going to have superpowers and be the Superman of the story. We saw him how he came into his origin. He got his powers. He trained. His mentor got kidnapped. The climax of the story is about him rescuing his mentor and defeating the overall villain. It's like a very formulaic story if you look at it
sure,
from a super simplified way. And
sure.
then it's wrapped up with all that very deep meta heavy, dense theories.
Hmm.
All the stuff with the Judeo Christianity stories, all the theories about what did you call it?
Reincarnation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Everything about rebirth and just making him a Christ-like figure. Basically, how they just took a lot of stories from the Bible and threw them on Keanu's character.
Hmm.
Um, if they can make it somewhat relatable like that, rather than what they did with the Matrix 2, where they tried to take like a bunch of children's fairy tales and then mash them together into a movie with the vampires, the werewolves, the multiple alternate realities, because they did do alternate realities in Matrix 2. Um, if they
To this day, I still strive to be able, and this was one of the reasons why I held off on rewatching it because I rewatched them back in like the early 2000s, mid
Keanu was in a
2000s.
train station for most of the movie. How you
Yeah.
make a character Superman and then you bench him in the sequel?
I mean, my thing was kind of like I want to be able to be smart enough to go back and understand the architect. So
Oh,
that was one of the reasons why I wanted to wait until I had a much more critical mindset to go back. Because I would sit there, I remember, take the
yeah.
tape, take the DVD, and rewind every
You
time he
gotta
would
live
say
life a
stuff.
little to understand what this man is saying.
I'm like, bro, what are you? How did you even read your lines? How did
But
you read your lines for this part?
looking back, it's all it's all coherent. It's all a
Oh yeah,
coherent
for sure.
conversation.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, you need to watch him together. I think that was also the bigger problem was the fact that we saw those things, a couple years apart. But if you sit and binge the entire thing, which I feel like was the actual intention with the storytelling, it wasn't meant to be seen with so many gaps
that
because the
sounds like a
concepts were so heavy.
challenge.
I mean, this is what I will do before the Matrix 4 comes out. Like
I
I
say
am
we
going
do
to
it sooner than
binge them.
later.
Nah, I want to binge them like when I know Matrix is coming out like in
It's coming out in
2 weeks.
December. I say you and
Oh,
I.
November, I'm
I
binge
say
watching.
you and I make a effort to watch the Matrix trilogy by the summer. You could rewatch it in November, but at least
I'm not gonna do that.
come on,
I'm not gonna do
it's
that.
gonna be worth it.
I don't I don't like rewatching things unless I'm doing research for a project. Like if
It's
it's
gonna be a
Marvel,
project. It's gonna be a
whatever.
research for a project, and
I No, I'm gonna do it in November so I can go in super fresh and I'll go from there.
To be continued.
Or I'll give you this exception unless the trailer comes out much earlier and there's something there. So if there's something there, maybe theory potential.
I've got a feeling about this one. I think this is the sleeper hit of the year. Honestly, I really
I
have a
don't
lot
think
of
so.
excitement for the Matrix 4. I know that there's a lot of buzz around it. There's been a lot of secrecy around it as well, but there's a lot of buzz. There's a lot of potential. I have a really good feeling about it. This is my guess for sleeper hit of the year.
Okay. I mean,
Anyway,
I wanted to succeed. Don't get me wrong, but I just, given a track record, given the time that's passed, I'm dubious, man.
okay. Anyway, that's all I've got for movies that I'm really wanted to chat about that I'm looking forward to this year. Is there anything else you could think of? Anything else worth mentioning? Otherwise, I'm gonna go back to TV because TV has been
Give me
amazing in
TV.
2020 and
Give me TV
2021.
unless you want to talk about WandaVision that's coming
No, I
up.
don't want to talk about no WandaVision. I want to talk about Lupin.
Oh, I only saw the first 2 episodes. I didn't finish the whole thing.
Gosh, listen, Lupin is a 5 episode miniseries. That's
It's
it.
5? Dang.
That's it. And
I
I
didn't
gotta
even know
tell
it
you,
was 5
it
because
was
my screener only went up to 3 episodes.
Lupin is love at first sight. It's like you remember as a kid the first time you had like cheese, or like, or the
You
first
don't
time
want
you
that. That's a
had
bad
like.
reaction for me.
All right, well maybe not cheese. Maybe like the first time you had like your favorite candy or chocolate, or the first time you kissed your wife, or like
Sure.
it's Lupin that first
Do you
episode.
think
It's
it's
just
because of the story or because of the actor?
the writing, the story, hands down. I'm gonna give Omar Sy credit because he is a very suave man, and he's like he reminds me of what I used to love about Idris Elba.
That's
Um,
fair.
so
Like a French Idris.
he's very very good, and I would hope to see him as a Wakandan one day.
He'd
Um,
be interesting.
but it's the
Can he speak
writing.
English? Like I
A
don't
lot
know
of
if he's
Africans speak
international.
French. I think he can work on
Huh?
that. A lot of Africans speak French, so that's great. So that's a great start. And English, I mean, they made the what's that guy's name? They've turned chubby people into superstar into model esque characters. They can teach this guy English.
Okay.
Let me see. Does Omar Sy have
I mean, he
any?
might. Like it's a very American thing for us not to learn other languages, but other countries, people do learn English.
He may know it. He may
Yeah.
know English.
He might
He
have a
didn't.
thick accent, but he probably knows it.
No, he wasn't. Hold on. Oh. Omar Sy has been in the X-Men movies
He was a bishop.
as Bishop.
That's
My
right.
man
I
knows
knew I
English.
remembered him from somewhere.
Don't sleep on him. He knows English.
Okay. Yeah, Bishop had a couple lines.
Right. He was in Jurassic World. He was in
That's right. That's right.
Inferno, which was the sequel to the Da Vinci Code.
He was. Okay, okay, okay. I mean,
He's got
I knew
man,
he looked familiar. I didn't know he was a native French speaker though.
yo. Looking back, he's like one of those actors we've seen in a bunch of stuff and just
Yeah. Like I knew he was familiar, but I was like, maybe he's just got that face.
no, we've just been
Nah, he
watching
wasn't.
him for years.
Yeah, but nobody was gonna recognize him without
Transformers
all them
last night.
fake the Tyler Perry wig dreadlocks that he had at X-Men. Ain't nobody gonna recognize him.
He's got a nice little filmography, this guy. I like it. Chocolat, Monsieur Chocolat. He was like the star of that movie.
Hmm.
Untouchable. I remember this movie. The Untouchable. Man. But yeah. Um, Lupin. Lupin is like it's like your first taste of a fine wine. or your favorite cognac. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when it hits your tongue and that flavor explodes on your palate. That's like a bit of the impression that Lupin has given me. The way that the first two episodes unravel this intricate plot, it's almost like watching Sherlock for the first time, or Holmes, or whatever that joint was with
What
Lucy Liu.
Oh, I thought you meant the BBC version with
I,
Benedict Cumberbatch. That one is
I,
good.
I never seen it.
That's good. That is good. Watch that. Benedict Cumberbatch. That's what made him popular.
I'll try. It's not his fault, yo. It's J.J. Abrams' fault that I don't like Benedict Cumberbatch. But
Why? What did he do with him?
Star Trek 2.
Oh my God, that is such a terrible representation of what he can do. You go watch you some Sherlock if you want
You
to
know, because
erase that
after that
taste.
he did The Hobbit where he was
Look,
like
forget that.
Smaug,
Forget
and
that.
then
I'm saying if you want to see him, this is almost like saying like I saw Idris Elba as Heimdall, and I just don't believe anything. And you never saw The Wire, or you never saw Luther. You
I
need
know
to go
so,
see. You need to go see Benedict
but I
Cumberbatch
saw
as
Prometheus
Sherlock.
and all that other stuff. And Benedict Cumberbatch honestly hasn't been doing a great job himself making sure he takes roles that grab my attention, that
I'm not
showcases
saying
his
he
talent.
doesn't. All I'm saying is he has excelled as Sherlock. That's all I'm saying. I'm not caping for none of his other stuff.
Fair.
I'm just saying him and Sherlock, that's the best you gonna see from this dude. And you gonna question why the hell he took everything else after. You be
Fair.
like, bro, I see your potential. What are you doing?
I don't know about. All right, fair, fair. I hear you. So if it is on Netflix, I put it on my watch list. I've
It
never
is.
actually hit play.
It is.
I'll think
Prepare
about it.
because every episode is kind of like its own movie. So it's like an hour and a half. So just heads up.
Okay. But Lupin, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, Lupin. It is one of the best. Like the fact that it's based off of this anime.
Oh,
I
the
did,
book.
and in the anime. All
I
right,
think
fine.
it's the book first.
Well, the book was about the original Lupin, but Lupin the Third, the anime, is what he is, right? He's the Lupin the Third.
I forget. I tried to look into that, and then I started getting confused, and I was
Because
just
his
like,
father
whatever.
was Lupin Jr. and he's
Right.
Lupin the Third. His grandfather was the original Lupin, which is who the books are based on. At least that's my theory so far. I ain't finished the series, but that's what I've gathered. And Lupin the Third was the name of the series, so that's where the anime series. So that's where I made the correlation. Um, Lupin has been my love interest these days, and I've been watching a lot of Japanese horror. I know I tried to get you to take a look at Alice in Borderland. Oh,
I added that to the list. I will watch
oh
that.
my gosh, that is not that's a fun, well written one. And the last
It
one I
just
saw,
got a season 2 greenlit.
it deserves it. Another one
Hmm.
that's based off of I don't know if it was an anime, it was a manga. I don't know if it actually had an animated adaptation. Um, and Sweet Home, that's another one I was going to recommend to you.
I don't know about that one.
Sweet Home is like a mix between Resident Evil, the game, and the the raid. No, not the raid. Judge Dredd. Maybe
Oh,
the raid or Dredd. Not the
nah,
not.
those are
Hold on,
two
hold on,
different
hold on,
movies, so you
hold
better
on,
pick
hold on,
one.
hold on, hold on. Carl Urban Dredd, not Sylvester Stallone
You
Dredd.
still got to pick. Those are two different things. Unless
So
you're
what
talking
I'm
about going into an isolated building and going from one level to level, but it happens to be zombies, then that's more dread. Now, if you're talking
yes,
about there's martial arts and zombies, that's more raid and in Resident Evil.
mm, all that into a
Are we
love
doing
bubble,
martial arts against zombies?
into a love bubble.
Okay, I
Maybe
think we
not as
can.
light martial arts. It's martial arts influenced.
Man, I don't know. I need some hardcore. Don't bring up the raid no more if you're talking
All
about
right,
anything
fine, but
light.
fine,
Don't-
but it takes place in like a single location, floor to floor, clearing out monsters. Each monster is like a boss fight.
okay.
It's all that, and the story is on. Yo, this has probably been the most unpredictable show I've watched in the last 5 years.
What's this
Easily,
called?
Sweet Home. Like this thing had me guessing like I was
Okay.
watching Shutter Island. Like what the hell is gonna happen next? Like this thing
You
had
know
me
what? Let me go
guessing.
ahead and just add that to my list. Sweet Home.
Um, Lupin, Sweet Home, Alice in Borderland. There's just been a real renaissance of foreign entertainment. I think as a result of the pandemic, that have really gotten a lot more attention than they otherwise would have. You know, with folks not necessarily going out to
Oh,
theaters as
Sweet
much.
Home. Okay. I just saw sorry, I just saw this like little not the trailer, but you know, the little clip or
Little
whatever that they
thumbnail or
play.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and it was the lady with the weird baby or something like that.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
just saw that. Oh, I still need to watch Alive also.
Hashtag Alive is good. This is better than
Definitely.
hashtag Alive. You
Okay. No,
saw
I'm gonna watch
Kingdom with the Asian zombies, right?
yeah, I'm gonna watch Alive first
Okay.
since it's, you know, bad. Like I like to go up. I don't like to watch something good then watch something bad.
Okay.
Um, but no, I saw that. You know what? And I know you don't watch anime no more because you done fell off the anime map. But Sweet Home looks like, at least through that thumbnail with that starfish tentacle
Yes.
thing,
It is
it
an
looked like
ants.
Parasite Maxim. Oh my god, that
Okay.
that anime. It's
This
only
is a
like 20
live action
episodes long.
anime.
It's
I
only
don't watch anime anymore.
oh,
This is like adult version. Like if anime was high school, I'm in college now. Right?
dude,
Sweet Home is
if
like adult anime.
if you needed yo graduate level anime, you need to watch Parasite Maxim because it looks just like this.
Okay.
Parasite was so good, and it's easy to binge. It's only 21 episodes or something like that's the complete story. And I love those self-contained animes that are not like 15 One Piece seasons,
Yeah.
but Parasite Maximum. Ooh, that right there. That's an interesting one. Interesting storyline, interesting character development, very grotesque. Very similar to this whole zombie thing. But yeah, that you might want to check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll give you another one
Is it on
because it's
Netflix?
tied to a movie. Because it's tied to a movie. Let me see if it is on Netflix. I think Parasite actually is.
If it doesn't have to be Netflix, HBO Go, any one of those,
Yep,
Amazon.
Parasite is on Netflix. It is Parasyte.
Got it.
Oh man. Okay. I'm
This
gonna
is
give
an
you some
anime.
more. I'm about to give you some more. Anime.
You make
Yeah.
me watch anime. I thought you meant this
Yes.
was a movie.
No. I'm gonna get there. First of all, do Parasite.
Oh,
Add
there
that
is a
to your
live
list.
action movie.
Okay. Add that to your list. I don't know about the live action. I can't speak to that. And then I want you to also add The Promised Neverland. It's also very short, and it's a very. I don't read nothing about it. Don't look at the trailer. Just play it. The less you know about it, the better. And that's what your eyeballs are gonna do.
I'm
What do you,
sorry, I just played the Parasite live action movie trailer. It's like 15 seconds long. I gotta
don't,
send this to you.
don't look at it. I know what's in Parasite. I know what's in there. I'm trying to
Yo, you
no,
didn't see the live action, you said.
dude, it doesn't matter. The live action is this is why I told you don't look at none of this
I'm
stuff.
gonna watch the live action. I'm skipping the anime.
Oh my gosh, the anime is so much better than the live
You didn't
action.
even
You
see the
know that
trailer yet.
it doesn't matter.
Just click it.
They're going to take the shock value that came from the anime.
No, just click it.
Hold on. Because if it's the scene that I think you're talking about, then I'm gonna be very disappointed because this is all that they do.
It's a 15-second trailer.
Let's see. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yes, you need to watch the anime. It's better.
That
Yes,
didn't
it's
look good.
better. Yes, it's better in the anime.
That
They
didn't look
set it
good.
up better. No, not compared to the anime.
Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I see what they're trying to do, and if you don't know what the anime does, I can understand. It's going to shock you. The anime does it better.
I'm not disagreeing with you, right? The Avatar cartoon was way better than the live action movie. The Last Airbender. I'm not talking about the movie.
100%. I'm
So
just
I'm
saying, you might be setting yourself up for some real disappointment.
not going to disagree with you.
Because if you know in your experience, you could have some shiny things happen in a show or a movie, but it's about how the story's told. The story's told much better through the anime, and it builds up those shiny moments way better. That's all.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to say.
The only other one I was going to say because of a movie was Demon Hunter. That needs to be top priority for you.
I am all about watching these types of stories. I just don't want to watch them animated.
Ugh. I don't know who hurt you, what scarred you.
I've had my anime fill over the years. You know,
you done missed
I saw
out
my
on
Cowboy Bebops. I saw my Triguns. I saw my
See, but like this is the thing,
Dreads.
though.
I saw my Escaflones.
This is the thing, though. Like as an anime previous watcher,
yeah,
you're always going to have these. It's almost like the NBA, right?
Tiger Man Blade.
Like in the NBA, you're always going to have a generation of good players. Like it happens, you're gonna have your Dr. J's, your Magic Johnsons, your Larry Birds. But guess what? It's gonna be a drought. Ain't nobody gonna be popping for a minute until a Michael Jordan and a Karl Malone and a Hakeem Olajuwon and a Shaq. And guess what? It's gonna be a drought. And then you're gonna have your Allen Iverson, your Kobe. I'm just saying.
You can't come to me with basketball analogies right now because my hype level.
You're a Knicks fan, that's why.
No, my lack of logic right now that James Harden signed to the Brooklyn Nets is like I can't talk sense. I can't talk logically right now.
All right.
Nick, who the fuck are the Knicks? Who are the Knicks? I don't hear nobody. I don't hear nothing. Right. Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yo.
I tried to help.
Right, I don't even know why you brought up basketball. Now I'm gonna just start doing Brooklyn shit. Who was my Brooklyn Nets hat?
I tried to
Kevin
help.
Durant, Kyrie, and we're going for a championship. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, you got anything else?
No, I got nothing else. So
that's the show. Peace.
That's it. We're just gonna steal Rob's piece like every episode, like peace.
I mean, unless you got something better.
What's he gonna do?